Hi everyone, I am Francesca Cerutti, gold member of Style Italiano Endodontics. Today I would like to show you one of my favorite kits for retreatments, which is the ReTreaty kit. It was developed by Perfect Endo in collaboration with Style Italiano Endodontics, and it is pretty unique because in a single kit you have everything you need for doing the retreatment, from removing the guttapercha to do the actual shaping of the root canal system. So let's give a closer look to the kit. There is a single box which contains the 5 instruments, and on the top of the box you see the 5 avatars which represent each instrument. On the opposite side you see instrument by instrument, the name and the description. So you are going to find out what is this instrument designed for even before opening the box. But let's look inside. So if we look at them in the order in which they are supposed to be used, we have the bullwhite, the skinny, Shapy 1, Shapy 2 and Shapy 3. And here you have some rubber stops that can help you in keeping count of the number of root canals in which you use the files, in order to be sure not to use them too many times and to know when you have to discard them. What's new about this kit? The fact that the instruments are not identified anymore by a letter and a number, but they have names and avatars. This makes them extremely more recognizable and user-friendly. And so you will find these 5 people that will identify one instrument each. What are the characteristics of the instruments? The first one, the bullwhite, is 25 in tip and 0.7 in taper. The skinny is 25 in tip and 0.4 in taper. Shapy 1, Shapy 2 and Shapy 3 are 0.5 in taper and are respectively 20, 25 and 30 in tip. Let's get to know them one by one. So the bullwhite 2507 is the instrument with whom you are going to remove the guttapercha or the cement or whatever is inside of the root canal, and its feature is that it is extremely flexible because it is made with a gold alloy, and so even if it's a big instrument, it is still flexible. It is short, 21 millimeters, and its section, which is italic S, allows for a very good debris removal and a good resistance of the instrument. Moreover, the semi-active tip is going to penetrate easily into the existing root canal filling material. This is an instrument that can be used in continuous rotation or reciprocation motion. So if you want to check it out, I set my endo motor at 350 rotation per minute and 1.5 Newton of torque. And this is how the instrument works. You can increase the speed up to 500 rotations per minute. It depends on your degrees of experience and on the difficulty that you're going to face into the root canal treatment. You can also use it in reciprocation motion, setting the motor in anti-clockwise 30 degrees and clockwise 150 degrees. Then let's go to the second instrument, which is the skinny 2504. Skinny is in a different alloy from the previous instrument and is designed to remove the guttapercha from the middle third of the root canal. If you see, it's silver alloy, so it is stiffer than the gold, but it has an extremely high cutting efficiency, so it's going to be extremely active inside of the root canal, and the fact that it is thin, only 0.4 in taper, allows him penetrating very well into the middle third. It's ideal also for making a glide path, and since it has italic hair section, it's very good at removing the debris. You still use it at 350 or 400 or 500 rotations per minute. This instrument has to be used in continuous rotation. Then let's skip to the third one. Once we have removed the gutta percha from the coronal and the middle third, then we leave the last millimeter to our hand file. As the literature says in general, it is advised to leave the last millimeter to your hand files. And once you have established your glide path, then you can switch to the shapers. So the first one is Shapy 1. Shapy 1 has a gold alloy again, so it is extremely flexible, also because it is 25% in taper, so it's a thin instrument. And it is extremely flexible, as the avatar is suggesting you. It's an instrument that is extremely thin, it can arrive almost everywhere, and it follows the root canal anatomy without transporting the location of the apex. And also, it has a great cutting efficiency. You still use it in continuous rotation at 350, 400 or 500 rotations per minute. If your root canal is extremely thin and the apex is small, you're done. If you need to enlarge more the apex, obviously you can use a bigger instrument. In this case, Shapy 2. Shapy 2 has the same taper as Shapy 1, but it is a 25 in tip. So it is a little bit more resistant because it's bigger, but still it's flexible because it is in gold alloy, and it allows for an extremely conservative shaping because it still follows very well the root canal anatomy even in the presence of curvatures. And you see that it works in the same way. So, same setting, and the instrument rotates. If you slightly pre-bend it, it remains bent. It's in a gold alloy. But what if I have to enlarge even more? If my apex is larger than 25, then no problem, I switch to Shapy 3. And if you observed carefully, you see that Shapy 3 is in another alloy because it is in blue. Why? Because it is a bigger instrument, and in order to make it extremely flexible, it is in blue. So you lose a little bit of cutting efficiency, but you don't need it because all of the job has been done by the previous instruments. And so it is going to follow smoothly the root canal anatomy and to enlarge your apex up to 30. And you can see how it works. In the same way. So this is really a complete sequence for facing most of the root canal treatments and retreatments, obviously. And the suggestions that we can give you after having used them for a long time are to frequently clean the spires, because in this way they will be free from the debris and their cutting efficiency will not be altered. Then frequently check for the distortion or wear of the file, because these alloys are extremely performing, but you have to treat them well. So if you want to avoid the separation of the instrument, frequently check the status of your instrument. And then irrigate frequently and abundantly, because the irrigant is going to remove most of the debris and also act as a lubricant for your files. So it's going to help you in both ways. And then follow the advised setting of rotation per minute and torque, because they are the optimal setting for making the instrument work at their best. And then start the procedure after scouting. You have to have an idea of how the root canal is, so scouting is always a good idea. And then, as we said before, work with plenty of irrigant for lubricating the instruments. And last but not least, apply a soft pressure to the instrument. Their cross-section makes them extremely highly efficient in cutting, so you don't need to push them. And the kind of movement that you have to use is just picking. Or if you need something more in the coronal part, you can also do some brushing. But they are working without you applying pressure. You don't need it. So just a small resume. The bullwhite is 2507. The skinny is 2504. Shapy 1 is 2005. Shapy 2 is 2505. And Shapy 3 is 3005. And how do you use them? The bullwhite remains in the coronal and maybe part of the middle third to remove the guttapercha. Then you switch to skinny in the middle and maybe something of the apical third, also to remove the guttapercha. Then you take your hand files and you gain the patency, you do the scouting, you do the glide path. Once you have done and you have finished with the glide path, you use Shapy 1, Shapy 2 and Shapy 3 according to the anatomy of the root canal system that you have to treat. So I suggest you to try this kit and maybe let me know how you found it, and if you had any comments, please let me know. Bye!